Which household compost can help grow zinnia plants the fastest in 24 days? By Avery, Daniela, Juliet, Ilya, and Layla. The compost fertilizers we chose were banana peels, eggshells, and coffee grounds. We also had one plant with just water and one with brand name fertilizer Miracle Grow.
Fertilizer is a substance that is given to plants to help them grow. It does this by exposing or giving more needed nutrients to the plants.
For example, some types of compost can speed up the growth of organic material, such as humus. Humus is formed from decayed plants and animal matter. Humus bonds with small minerals in the earth and creates spaces for air pockets to form. Having more air pockets makes it easier for roots to grow healthier and faster.
This experiment can benefit daily lives because figuring this out would help lessen the number of waste humans contribute, as well give a cheaper, more accessible, and more environmentally friendly alternative fertilizer.
The fertilizers we chose all contain chemicals such as phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium, and calcium. We decided to grow zinnia seeds because we knew they would grow fast and we were on limited time. We conducted 2 trials.
The materials we used for our 2 trials were banana peels, coffee grounds, also known as K-cups, mortar and pestle, eggshells, water, Miracle Grow, jars, zinnia seeds, and soya organic potting mix.
We predicted that K-cup powder, which is also coffee grinds, will be the most successful because there's a large amount of caffeine, which increases a plant's energy level, which helps it to grow faster. Coffee grinds also includes fertilizer's main nutrients, such as 2% nitrogen, with traces of phosphorus and potassium.
Our procedure for a plant without fertilizer was to first fill a cup up to 7 centimeters tall in the cup. Then plant 1 zinnia seed in the center, about a centimeter deep. After that, we watered it with half a centimeter of water every weekday, and on the Friday before break, we put in 5 days worth of water so they could still grow during the break. We then measured the growth of every day and recorded the data for 24 days. This was repeated for all of the plants. However, some had extra steps.
For our procedure for our store-bought fertilizer, Miracle Grow, we put the soil in halfway.
Layla, we can't hear you.
Did we lose Layla?
I think so. I can just fill in.
Yeah,
I got it. For our procedure for our store-bought fertilizer, Miracle Grow, we put the soil in halfway, then added the 5 milliliters of liquid fertilizer before planting the seed. We repeated the same steps after that.
Our procedures for the compost fertilizers go as follows. We measured 6 grams of each respective fertilizer and semi-thoroughly mixed it in with the soil, then put in the seed. All plants were watered the same and put in the same conditions after being potted to the best extent of our ability.
Here are our graphs and data, and as you can see, we were way over break, so those days we were not able to collect data. And as you can see, banana peels were the first to sprout, and it was on day 6 for the first trial and day 2 for the second trial. Also, the tallest at the end of the 24 days were both banana peels, with the height of 2.5 centimeters for the first trial and 2.7 centimeters for the second trial.
Here are some photos.
Avery, you have to sub in for Layla.
Here are some photos of our plants. As you can see on day 1 of trial 2, there was nothing there. On day 16, you can see that the plants had spreaded and grew a bit. On day 24, they are fully grown, with banana peels with a slightly higher height than the others.
We conducted many errors throughout this entire process. Our first error was that we measured the plants with different rulers at the start of the trials. and our calculations to fix this error may not have been entirely accurate. We also had to add 5 days worth of water to make up for the week that we would be away for break on the Friday before, causing the growth to possibly be different between the plants. We also moved our first trial to the greenhouse from 412 after a week of zero growth. Additionally, we overdosed the amount of brand name liquid fertilizer in the plants, causing both plants with the fertilizer to die in both trials. With our original control depth, we were not able to compare its growth to our homemade fertilizers ones, so our research question had to be altered. And lastly, because the weather was very rainy with little sun for the first 2 weeks of the first trial, and very sunny for all the days of the second trial, the growth can be varied between both trials.
We found that banana peels acted as the best homemade fertilizer in both trials, which is most likely due to their high potassium and phosphorus levels.
However, the plant with no fertilizer did not grow at all. Oh wait, no. However, the plant with no fertilizer whatsoever grew to a respectable height, showing that even if one does not use fertilizer, they can still grow healthy plants.
Also, we learned that despite our previous thoughts, caffeine does not help plants grow faster over a short period of time than potassium.
We learned that phosphorus and potassium are vital nutrients for plant growth, and we learned that a plant can grow very fast despite not having fertilizer. We learned that our hypothesis that coffee grounds would help a plant grow the fastest was wrong because the caffeine contained in coffee grounds surprisingly acts as a slow-working fertilizer counter to our original belief. It can possibly even be dangerous for the plant and stunt its growth or potentially kill the plant if not handled properly and previously broken down.
So these were the sources we used to our project. Any questions?
Thanks, guys. We have a couple raised hands for you.
Carmel?
You guys think that your results could apply to most plants?
Oh, I know this one. Yes, last year, a different group of 8th graders also did a similar project where they studied different household compost, and they also did banana peels, but they did pumpkin seeds instead. So it's
And
proven,
banana peels.
we know that it at least works for pumpkin and zinnia seeds.
Well, it can't be applied to every single plant because obviously some plants have different environments that they need to grow in and different nutrients that they need particularly. But I think generally this is true. Ziva?
So when you went away for break, wouldn't giving the plants 5 days worth of water kind of be drowning the plant at the time?
So we did a little bit of research on this beforehand, and it actually said that the plants need an inch of water for every week. So we just, instead of normally during the week, we'd split up that water, but for break, we just put it all in at once. Because for that certain plant, you're allowed to do that. It will still grow.
For other plants with maybe smaller seeds, it would be a different effect.
I have at least one question for y'all, which is your prediction was that the caffeine would work best for the plants. I am curious, is that something that happens, or does caffeine, because I know caffeine works on humans, but we're not plants. So what is the actual mechanism and by which plants use caffeine, or do they use caffeine for energy?
So they do use caffeine like humans, but I'm pretty sure it has a different effect. And we could see that it was more of a slow process, which we wouldn't expect. And banana peels, because they have potassium and phosphorus, were pretty much like caffeine in humans, but for plants.
Cool. I did not know that they could use caffeine like that. All right.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Great. Well, thanks a lot. Oh, Liana, was that a hand?
Yeah, sorry. You said that the caffeine was a slow working process. Do you think if you had waited longer, the caffeine would have the plants with the caffeine would have eventually grown to be bigger than the banana peels?
We can't know that for
In-
sure, but it's possible.
I
I
don't,
don't
in
know
this particular case, I don't think so because by the end of both trials, neither time did it grow taller than 2.1 centimeters. So we think it may have stunted its growth. And in addition to
Okay.
that, we grew a plant with no fertilizer at all, and the plant with no fertilizer grew taller than the plant with the coffee grinds. So and the point is for it to go taller than that plant, so it didn't work.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Very interesting project, guys. I guess that concludes our presentation in this class.